Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today I thought I would talk you through all of my baking gear, what I've collected over the years, what's been worth the money. Someone actually requested on another video if I could show like my baking products and things, and I have been thinking about doing a video like this for a while. So the kitchen does look a bit of a mess at the moment, but I've got everything out of the cupboards to show you. So a lot of this stuff is everything I use like to make a cake, just general baking. Some of it is looking a bit dusty now because I haven't baked in quite a while, which has made me a bit sad. Like life's just been a bit busy and I always just feel like there's other priorities, but when I do bake I love it, and I used to make quite a lot of cakes for friends and family, which I don't do as often now, but on the odd time that I do, like for Halloween, Christmas, birthdays, this is everything I use. Some of the products massively upped my baking game. I've watched a lot of Cupcake Gemma on YouTube. Jane's Patisserie as well is great for recipes. I always think the Mary Berry recipes are good as well. So yeah, I will talk you through everything that I think is worth investing in if you are into baking or looking at getting into it. And if you do like this video, I would love it if you could give it a big like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already for more content like this. The more likes I get on a video, the more I know what kind of content that you guys enjoy. So yeah, with all that said, I'll show you my favourite baking tools. I've had to turn the light on in here because it's getting so dark so quickly now, so hopefully the lighting's okay. So one of the best things that I bought for baking was the KitchenAid. The KitchenAid has just made life so much easier when baking. It's got so many benefits. It's super heavy though, so it's not something you want to keep in a cupboard and then have to get out. It really needs to stay on the side because it is really heavy, but the weight of it is a benefit as well because when it's mixing really fast it doesn't move on the side. It is a bit of an investment piece. They are quite expensive, but it does so many things. It does a lot more than I use it for. I only use it for baking really and like mixing, and it comes with a few different attachments, and then there's loads more attachments you can buy on the website for like chopping vegetables, making pasta. It comes with like a dough hook so you can do your dough to make bread and things like that. It comes in loads of different colours. You can also buy different bowls, like the mixing bowls on the website, to either have extra or some of them just look really nice. One of the things I love most about it is that you can set the speed and then you can be doing other things while it's going on. So I'll usually set the speed and I'll set a timer for like 5 minutes, and then I can just get on with like washing the pots whilst it's mixing. You can get a smaller version of the KitchenAid as well, but they're not as heavy and they haven't got as many settings for speed, whereas the bigger ones have got loads of settings for speed. And probably the second most important thing that I have for baking are these salter scales. So when I got these, they literally changed my baking game. Before I got them, I used to use like my mum's sort of old-fashioned one with the bowl that like kind of rests on top, and then you watch the little ticker go to whatever the weight is. But these are so precise. You can also put your bowl on top and then put the ingredients in without it weighing the bowl, which is amazing. I also use it like when I'm weighing out pasta and spaghetti and things. It's super precise, which is what you need in baking. It does grams, ounces, millilitres, I think. The battery lasts for ages. They're just so good and they're pretty cheap to buy. You need a set of salter scales in your kitchen if you like baking. And then over here I've just got some recipe books. So I've got the Jane's Patisserie book, a Mary Berry Fast Cakes, and I've got a few of the Great British Bake Off biscuit and classic cakes books. And then here I've also got one of the old Biro recipes. My nana always used the Biro recipe books, so you could still order them online. So I got one of these a couple of years ago, and some of the recipes are just so simple and brilliant. Some good old-fashioned at home cooking. So I've got a handheld whisk here as well, just a Kenwood one. I've got the attachments and my utensil pot there, but that's also really handy. Like if you're not doing a massive bake, you might not want to get the KitchenAid out and start, you know, cleaning numerous bowls. You could just whisk something together with the smaller handheld ones. That always comes in handy. I tend to use that when I'm making like banana bread and things like that, muffins. That's the balloon whisk that comes with the KitchenAid, and you've got your dough hook. That's a paddle with like a silicone rim, and then there's also another paddle that I've got that I just keep in there. So this utensils pot is just for my baking tools basically. I don't tend to have this out on the side really. I have it in the cupboard most of the time and just get it out when I'm baking. I would say there's quite a few essential things in here that are a must when I'm baking. So you need numerous palette knives. So I've got a straight one with a bit of an edge, and the mini one is just super handy. The mini one is great just for like numerous things. Also got a sugar thermometer, which I don't use that often but comes in handy. Rolling pin for rolling out like fondant icing, dough, things like that. And then also a smaller rolling pin, which is perfect for when you're decorating cakes and you've got smaller amounts of icing. So this little tool is an apple corer, but I use it to get out the middle of cupcakes if you want to fill them with jam or any kind of filling flavour. You can put Nutella, Biscoff in the middle of cupcakes. this, and you just kind of insert that into the cupcake and it pulls out a lovely little piece in the middle for you to put your filling in. We've got a few spatulas, yeah, just kind of an essential really. We've got a couple of these, can't remember what the exact name is for them, but they're basically like icing smoothers, so either for buttercream or fondant as well. It's how you get a neat edge on your cakes basically. I would probably recommend like the metal one over the plastic. I've got lots of different measuring spoons as well, like all the different sizes. This one's looking a bit bent, but I have a couple of sets of those, and also like the little cups for cup measurements as well. Then next up is a cake leveler. So I spent a long time leveling my cakes with, and when you're doing it by eye, it just definitely goes up and down. A cake leveler just makes sure that the cake is obviously level. So this is once the cake is baked and you've got it out the tin and you've got it on the side, and then once you come to decorate it, if you're stacking them together, it's a good idea to level them so that they stack nicely on top of each other, and then if you are putting icing on, it's like neat around the side as well. So this is one of the Wilton cake levelers, which has been really great and lasted years, and you can just move it on the side to the thickness of your cake. So if it's not very thin, you can have it low. If it's a really thick cake, obviously you can move it up, and then that'll just nicely slice off the top for you. So this next one is probably more if you are really into cake decorating and you kind of want to take your skills to the next level. It's an airbrush kit. So I want to say these are in the region of like 80 to 100 £100, somewhere around there. I did buy it a few years ago, so it might be different now. This is the PME airbrush kit, and be warned, it does make a bit of a mess, so you need to kind of put newspaper down because, as it says, it's airbrush, it sprays, so bits do go on the side, so it is quite messy, but it makes a really clean pattern. Like, you can airbrush over a stencil on a cake, you can airbrush the whole cake, so if you've iced it white, you could airbrush the whole cake to be a different colour instead of dyeing the icing a colour. But yeah, really pretty for stencils, or if you've got a cake you want the bottom half to be a different colour, you can kind of put a stencil around the top and just spray the bottom half, and then when you remove the stencil, it's like a perfectly neat line. Next is an oven thermometer. It's only a little cheap gadget, but it really helps with your baking. All ovens are different, they reach different temperatures at different times, so if you really want to get to know your oven, if you get an oven thermometer, it will tell you when the oven's reached the right temperature for you to bake, or if your oven is running slightly hot or slightly cool, this will be able to tell you. So I think I purchased this off Amazon, really handy, and I definitely recommend it because obviously the oven temperature plays a huge part in how your bakes turn out, so it just relieves a bit of stress as well because you know you're baking it at the right temperature. And if you're wondering what this was on the side, it's just my little caddy full of baking things that I've collected over the years. I got this little caddy from Next actually, and it's been great just to store all the smaller things. I've just got little different tools in here, I've got different food colours and things like that. I've even got a spirit level in it just to make sure that the cakes are level, so you can pop that on top. More smoothers just to smooth the buttercream and the icing. Little paintbrushes. These are mini rollers that create a pattern on the icing. Lots of useful but random things in here. This has also been amazing as well, which I would recommend if you're really into cake decorating. It's basically just a teeny tiny knife. I will link everything in the description as well if you're interested in any of them, but often like usual knives are too big to be able to get into like the tiny corners that you want to, and this was like super sharp so it wouldn't leave any like snaggy bits on the icing, would like cut really cleanly. I might be talking gibberish here, but if you're into cake decorating, hopefully you'll know what I mean. Also food colourings as well. You want to get a high like pigmented one rather than like the runny ones. Often the ones that you will get in the supermarkets aren't that highly pigmented and they can be a bit watery, so it just means you need to use more than you would if it was like a gel colour. So I've used quite a few different ones over the years, but these ones are the Wilton ones from Hobbycraft, so you can buy those individually. You can get them in loads of different colours, and then tend to just use a toothpick to get the colour out and put it in the icing or in the mixture or whatever it is you're colouring. So I've also used Colour Mill and Sugar Flare, which are really good strong colours as well, and they come in loads of different colours. There's slightly different colours to like what you can get with Wilton, just like different shades and things. So I got these online. Sometimes you can get them from like the cake decorating website, and then the Colour Mill ones just look slightly different in this kind of bottle, but yeah, loads of colours in there. So we've been obsessed with baking for years. I've collected a lot of things along the way, especially like cookie cutters, icing cutters and things like that, so I really do need to sort a place to store them all because at the moment I've got them in different boxes. I bought this a few years ago, I think it was from Paper Chase, bit of a stationery like organiser, so I just keep this in the kitchen cupboards. This has just got some of the smaller cutters in it, again mainly for like cutting fondant and things like that. I would say that's just reminding me actually that like a good set of round cutters is like an essential if you're into baking. But just like those ones there, you get different sizes, really good if you're making like cookies as well. One side's like perfectly round and then one side's got like the fluted pattern on it, and then the top one's just more cutters, usually like flowers, butterflies, hearts, dots. So we've got a few more things here on the cooker. So this is a turntable, so again mainly for decorating or even just icing the cake. You basically put your cake board on top with your cake on. It has a little clip underneath. You just push that in and then it spins. So when you're decorating, it's just really easy to spin it round. Honestly, it makes life so much easier if you do like cake decorating, and then when you want it to be stationary, you just pull the clip again and it'll stay in place. The next item is this, which I'm not sure what the correct term for it is. It basically looks like a large pizza shoveler thing, but basically for your cake, so you can transfer it from one place to another without damaging it. So it really is a great thing to invest in if you're doing a lot of baking, because it's just so easy. It just slides under because it's so thin. Cake on top, and then if you like stacking cakes, maybe you've made numerous sponges, it's quite a tall cake, and you've got like a few on the side while you're decorating each one. Just pick them up, slide them on top. Yeah, highly recommend. I mean, I presume you're gonna know this, but if you want to make muffins or cupcakes, then you need a muffin tin like this one. Please don't judge, it's very old, but still does the job perfectly. This will give you lovely cupcakes. I always think it's handy to have at least 2 of those or a couple, so if you are making a big batch of mixing, you can just put them in the oven at the same time. This basically, when you're mixing either with the hand mixer, or I have used it on my KitchenAid as well, you put the whisk through the middle and then that stops like any mess coming out of the bowl. So especially when you're using icing sugar is a nightmare. It just goes absolutely everywhere. So if you just pop this on when you're mixing, it stops your whole kitchen looking like it's been covered in snow. And then over here are all like my cake tins. So I've got quite a lot of cake tins, all different sizes. I also like to have a few of the same size, so that if I'm making quite a large mixture, I can bake them all at the same time, so I can get 2 tins per shelf. And then I've got like a 4-layer cake, all cooked at the same time. If I only had 2, then I'd have to wait for the cakes to be cooked, get them out, and then wash the tins, and then put the rest of the mixture in. So I have got quite a few of the same sizes, and I have square, round, flute tins for like pastries. I've got like the bread tins for banana bread, lemon loaf, things like that. A lemon squeezer, which is super handy. If you like lemon cake, get a lemon squeezer. And then you will need wire racks to cool your bakes on, whether that's cupcakes or cakes that you've made, biscuits, whatever it is. You're gonna need some wire racks. So this is actually a stackable one, which is great for space saving, and you can also just use them individually as well, and the bottoms just fold up so it stores away really nicely. So here I also have a recipe book stand. So this is brilliant. Obviously this just folds down like this, and then you've got the little things here that keep the pages open. So sometimes I will use a recipe offline, but if I am using a recipe from a cookbook, then it's so easy just for it to be stood in here on the side. You don't have to keep like opening it doesn't get messy then with like butterfingers and all sorts. And if I did have a big enough kitchen, I would leave it on the side permanently with like a cookbook open in it, because I think it looks really nice, but I don't have loads of counter space, so I just get it out as and when I need it. I also recently got this corner shelf for the cupboard, which is coming super handy. It's just easier to access things, and as you can see, I've got quite a stack of cake boards here, all different sizes again, for different size cakes, some square. Cake tins I have numerous of. I do have a few up there on top of the cabinets. That glass one was a present from my mum, and I absolutely love it, so I get that down when I've got like a nice bake to show off. And that cake tin is actually super handy because the lid comes up rather than having to put a cake in the tin, if that makes sense. So you can just put the cake on the bottom, lift the lid, and then yeah, it's super easy to like cut a slice. Oh my gosh, this is making me want a cake so bad. And then in this cupboard over here is all my baking things, so it's nice to have my own kitchen and my own space to have it all, but I feel like it definitely needs organising. Thinking about getting some either Kilner jars or more OXO containers to like decant the flour and sugar into. Yuck's tea have creeped into the corner here because I bought the large box. Yeah, I feel like it's always good to have self-raising flour, plain flour, caster sugar, bicarbonate of soda, baking powder, eggs, icing sugar, light brown sugar. All those things I always have in, just so that I always know if I want to bake something, I tend to have it there, as well as butter. So I have this jar which I tend to keep a lot of my nozzles in. So there's some like really large nozzles in there, I think they were from Lakeland, and some really small ones just for more like intricate piping and things, and then I just keep that paper in there which shows me which nozzle does which design. So in terms of piping bags, these are the piping bags that I have. It's a massive roll I bought off Amazon. I basically tear them off and cut them to size. So they're absolutely huge bags, and you can see the perforation there. You just tear it off, and then you can just cut the corner to whatever size like nozzle that you're using. If you've got a really large one or a smaller one. But I would say it's quite important to have strong bags, because the amount of bags that have split on me when I've been piping, and these are super sturdy quality, so I will link them again in the description. So this little Emma Bridgewater like a flower pot has been super handy as well. So I tend to keep corn flour in here, so whenever I'm decorating I can like dust the surface. And yeah, it's just been super handy in instead of having to get like a whole bag of flour out. I keep lots of cupcake cases in there as well. The ones that are foil lined are definitely better at holding the colour, so rather than like just paper, these ones have a silver foil inside, so I know when I'm buying them that colour will stay looking like that once I've baked the cake. Or just foil cases are great. I always like to keep in loads of cupcake boxes and like treat boxes, so I've got a Christmas one there ready to use. I've like all different sizes for 4 cupcakes, 6 cupcakes, 12. If you're making brownies, obviously you can put them in the box. I've got a tin there, a flamingo tin. It's just full of like different coloured ribbon, and then a basket of sprinkles, which is heaven. And this is my little basket of sprinkles. I love these scrumptious sprinkles, really nice colours. Just got different ones like Christmas, I think there's Halloween ones, or the super drizzle ones. They're quite fancy, bit dearer, but you can get some like really unique sprinkles on their website. Again, all different kind of sprinkles. Apologies, I know this probably isn't the best light. I wish it was a bit more daylight right now. And then I have a few cutters, like a happy birthday cutter. So, well, it's not a cutter really, it's like a stamp, so you roll it into the icing. And then another stamp. This one's from Cookie Cut, which is a really great website as well. That's a Happy Easter one. I have quite a few of those. Really easy to decorate your cupcakes with. And just roll out a bit of icing, pop the stamp in, and Bob's your uncle. I think that's mainly it really, but I just wanted to show you this amazing set of cookie cutters that I've got for Halloween as well. Got these a couple of years ago. They just came in the most beautiful box. I think I got them off Amazon. With it nearly being Halloween, I think I might have to get these out. But yeah, just some great, like really good size cutters. And if you're baking with kids and you want to make your life easy, I always think things like this are just really handy. I usually just keep them if I've got them in like cake sets, cupcake sets, things like that. I feel like they just decorate a cake quite well. You just stick it on top of the icing. It's like a mess-free way to decorate. I've also got this big hamper that's just full of like, again, different cutters. I do like a massive drawer just for cookie cutters. I like to keep things like candles. I feel like if I open this up and show you the contents, it's just going to be like a 2-hour video. Just before I finish, I got these more recently, which I don't know if you can tell on camera, but they're basically like large cutters, so you can put like a message in the middle of them, and then it just gives like a bit of a nice border. And always just having a nice ribbon to put around your cake boards makes like a big difference to how it looks, or like the bottom of your cake. And a large non-stick icing mat like this one. So it's like silicone, and if you do a lot of cake decorating, then it just stops the fondant icing from sticking to the side or you're having to put flour everywhere. So definitely get yourself one of these if you haven't. And that is it for all of my baking products. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I use for my baking, and maybe it gave you a bit of inspiration to do some baking. It's definitely made me want to bake now I've got all my things out on the side. The only trouble is when you're trying to be good in the week, it just means you end up eating it. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you next Monday for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.